frosty morning here in Asheville, North Carolina. Walked outside to about 34 degrees. That's what the weather said, but the wind chill said it was 32 or below because it was iced over. Not frost, ice. So somewhere during the night we got some moisture and it froze over, but of course nothing on the roads or I wouldn't be out here. So we are headed back over to Candler, that driveway we dropped Big Orange off at day before yesterday, and we're going to be getting that driveway graded out. First step will be, I think I'm just going to try to dig in deep because they put washed stone on it, and that simply isn't going to work because it's a pretty steep driveway, and you just can't, that washed stone won't stand its ground, obviously. I mean, it's just really bad humped up from tire spin. And even coming down, when people hit the brakes, it'll kind of snow plow into little gravel drifts. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to mix the dirt up with the gravel a little bit and kind of make like a red road bond, which is dirt and 3/4 gravel that they have to quarry. It's a great filler, but as soon as it rains, you know, it won't stand its ground. It'll just turn to mush. So I'm gonna try to do that as opposed to just scraping the majority of that 3/4 gravel off and piling it somewhere down at the bottom of the road. There's a big parking area that I could use it on, but I hate to see the customer's money go to waste there. So if I can get it mixed up, it will, you know, it'll firm up, but we will either way have to top it with regular road bond to make it into a good road. So I feel pretty confident that we can get it fixed up. Actually, I know we can because we ain't gonna stop trying until we do get it fixed. It'll be a one-day job. We're probably gonna have to haul 3 or 4 loads on this truck, put material in, and then we'll see how it comes out. So we'll see you guys at the job site. Okay, we have arrived. This is gonna be a fun project, I can already tell. It's dried up a lot since the day before yesterday, so that's good. That's going for us. This curve right here, and you may even be able to tell that this really curves up. I don't think I'm gonna have a whole lot of trouble getting traction to spread with the truck, so that's a huge plus. That'll save us a lot of time. And it's just noticeable that right there is the main problem, and it looks like it's just because it was holding water. Anytime it cups out like that and holds water, it's exponentially worse as far as how fast it deteriorates. So, and they don't really have ditch lines here. This looks like it was just a road that was, I bet they didn't even cut this, really. It almost looks like they just graveled it like it was laying. So what we're going to have to do is put enough material down on this road to get it shaped right, to get water to go off either side. But that's just the same story we always do on this stuff. Other than that, I think we got about 150 feet to fix. So I think I'm going to end up putting about 32 tons on here, which if it's flat ground, we could probably do just 16. But when it's steeper like this, I'm going to double down on it and give it a good chance to stand its ground, and it goes down a little bit farther from where y'all can see. So that's not in bad shape. It's really not going to need that much grading. So I'm gonna run up here, get the tractor, get it warmed up, and start grading this out. Now with my setup, you see I've got the loader and I've also got the box blade, and most of the time you guys are going to see me using the box blade because it's easier for me to look in the box as I'm cutting material and see how much I have in that box, and also where in the box the material's being collected, and that can make a difference as far as where you're wanting to move material from and to on a road. So it's on something like this, and I know it's hard for you guys to see, and I apologize for that, how rough this is. The difference between each high spot matches up to the low spot uphill from it, and that's from where the spinning and you know, I call it snow plowing, but coming down the hill, the car's tires are pushing gravel, so the height difference between each hump and low spot is about that far. So that's a lot of movement. So if you're wanting to cut this going forward, you know, you can use the loader, put it down and cut it as you go. Or what I do is I'll start up at the top and I'll cut the first hump and pull it into the valley just ahead of it, and then I'll back up, grab the next one, pull it into the low spot, and essentially I'm just seesawing my way back down the road, and making those small adjustments makes it easier for me to adjust the slope and tilt and crown of the road as I'm going. And also, as I'm working my way back downhill, I'm constantly back and forth over those spots that I just graded, so I'm packing them in as I go. So by the time I get the whole road cut and graded the way I want, it's also packed, and that'll make it a lot easier for the dump truck to pull up the hill when we spread the fresh material down. So now we're going to cut these mountains and valleys down. I have to admit, that took a little bit more doing than I anticipated, simply because that ground is hard. I mean, this stuff is hard. I had to push, pull. I've broken all the scar fires on that box blade, and it's actually warped a little bit, so we're going to end up going and buying us a new box blade maybe this evening. We got all those humps graded out, got all that loose gravel mixed up in the dirt really good, so it's packing well. Now let's just go get us some good fresh road bond, get it down on here, and see what we can make happen. All right, we are ready to roll to the quarry. I wish Hedrick Industries had a quarry over this way, but they don't, so we're gonna have to go visit Harrison's Allen's Creek quarry. I've already taken a run up this hill just with the bed down, just to see if I'd have any tire slipping, and I didn't. So once I raise that bed up and that weight shifts to the rear end, that's going to give me even more traction, giving me more confidence that the truck will pull the whole hill without spinning out. It's not guaranteed, but luckily we've got the tractor here on this job, so if I do spin out or something, then I can pull myself on up the hill or pull the material away from the tailgate and be able to back out and then just regrade with the tractor. But as I've said in other videos, when you're getting started with a dump truck, you know, a lot of it's trial and error and learning it as you go. But in general, on a lot of driveways, especially here in western North Carolina, if it does get steeper as it goes, the bottom of the driveway is usually pretty flat. So once you're parked at the bottom of the driveway going uphill, you raise your bed up until you hear the material start trickling, and actually you'll feel it slide and hit the tailgate, and that's when you know you're just about high enough. Usually I'll raise the bed about that much farther just in case, and then you can pretty much forget about it. Once you take off and you pop the tailgate open, you can just concentrate on maintaining a steady speed, because you know that going steeper and steeper up the driveway, as the truck gets steeper, then it pitches that tailgate up higher, and gravity takes over and it helps feed that material out. So, you know, the main thing, just focus on keeping a steady speed. I think that went quite well. Didn't have any tire slipping. It came out nice and smooth, and it is a good mixture. So let's go get us another couple of loads. We just got back with load number 2. I've made a few trips up and down through here packing that first layer. So now we're just going to raise that bed and drop load number 2. I just had to use the tractor to smooth that last load out a little bit. I just didn't have that bed raised up quite high enough for it to come out smoothly. I could feel it as I was driving. It was kind of like the truck was lurching, but it's because that load was, it'd shift a little and then it'd spread and it'd shift a little more. So just a little inconsistent. So a little bit of a learning curve. In Wilbur, I could have just grabbed the control and raised the bed up a little more as I was moving. But with that truck being wired the way that it is, it won't allow me to leave the PTO engaged and climb a steep hill like this. It can be fixed. I just need to make sure that if we change that wiring, that it won't void my warranty on the truck. So off to get load number 3. Well, I have to say this is certainly a different kind of road bond. You can see that it's just a different kind of a mixture. Instead of just a consistent 3/4 with granite fines and dust in it, it's a mixture of anything from 1 inch, 1/2, 3/8, 1/4 and P mixed with fines. And I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's the best that we have over here in this area. So I've got a 3rd load. I'm going to try to put this load down kind of from the beginning of the road, and I'm going to spray it a little bit thicker to where this probably about the middle of the curve, and that way it'll take a little bit of that step up out of it. It'll be a little bit more gradual. So let's try that out, and hopefully this load's got a few more fines in it. All right, now clearly that did a lot better, and it seems like we've got a lot more fines in here. So it's definitely packing a little bit better. I like this. So still doesn't have a whole lot of the fines in it that we're used to closer over to Asheville, but I'm gonna jump on the tractor and drag this out a little bit and see how it compares then. just got our third load down on this road, and what I'm gonna do is raise my bed up to get as much traction over those back tires as I can, and we're gonna just drive up and down this road at just how I would normally drive and see if we get much spin going. If we do, we'll have to try something different here. Okay, PTO off. Let's see what happens here. We shall see. If we spin much. No spinning yet. How about that? If something's gonna spin, usually here lately this truck will spin when it's empty, but I don't seem to be having any major problems there. Might just be a weird looking road bump. So let's put the bed down, back down through here and pull back up and see if we have much difference with a little more weight on the front end. Alright, so I just checked, the bed is completely empty and it's down, so we're just going to cruise up and down through here and see if this road gets a little tighter or if it loosens up a little bit as we do this. If it gets tighter, then that tells me that we're not getting any spin, which is good. And maybe this fever I've had this week's just made me a little loopy or something. I don't know. When I first looked at this mixture, I was like, there's no fines at all in this, but I guess it just depends. Every quarry's different, I know, but this one's, I've hauled out of this quarry a few times, and it's I just don't remember. There's ABC and ABCM, and I could have sworn that's what this was after I tracked on it a time or two, because the M has less of the grit, the dust in it. And now this bottom section, the third load we just put down, it just seems darker, and it seems like it's got more fines in it, but it's strange. If I put the fuel down on this thing, I could make it spin on this, but it just doesn't seem like it's just a steady fuel. Not spinning, so our car shouldn't spin coming up through here. I wouldn't think. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so if it does that, this stuff will set up better. I'll just keep driving on it and packing it in, see how it finishes out after a little while. Even when it bounces, it doesn't seem like it's wanting to spin out per se. Let's see. Well, we are back underway. That driveway turned out pretty good. I wasn't real thrilled with the mixture in that road pond, but I was able to pull this truck up and down that driveway 20 times empty and it kept getting firmer and firmer. So after talking to the customer, for me, he drives a small car that's rear-wheel drive, and he knew that was the culprit that caused the initial problem with the road. So I got it fixed up as best I could with the material and budget that we had to work with, and feel good about it. So now we are just on our way back to the yard. We got a weigh station here, it's closed up. Figured we'd be going in there to see our friends. That'd be my first time crossing these scales in this truck. It would not have surprised me if they'd stopped me on the scales, red lighting me, and wanted to check me over, make sure that I had my fuel stickers and all that stuff. And that's kind of something helpful, you know. If you're going to be driving a commercial truck, which in North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure anywhere, 26,001 pound or over, you're a commercial truck. It don't matter if you're hauling your own stuff or somebody else's, you're a commercial truck. So what I do to make life as easy on myself as possible, I keep everything right here, and I know what order my registration, insurance, and fuel tax paperwork is in order. And that way, when they red light me on the scales and they come out and they ask me for my stuff, I can hand it to them as soon as they ask for a specific item. Or if they just want everything at one time, I can hand them my bundle. I'm not digging through a bunch of, you know, old receipts, wrappers, scale tickets. If you've got everything in order and it's not crumpled up and you hand it right to them, most of the time they're going to look at it, hand it right back to you, and wish you on your way. I've always been real polite with law enforcement. You know, some people have had a bad run-in with them. I know for a while, law enforcement in the States here, it was like everybody was against them, you know. And I'm sure there's some bad apples out there, but I'd say 90% of them are good, decent people. At least I'm going to live in ignorance and believe that. I have no desire to have a problem with authority, or people that think they have authority. You know, I'm going to be polite to them as long as they're polite to me, and even if they're a little rude, I'm still going to be polite, because that's how I was raised. And I've just never had, you know, I've had them be a little ill with me, but I can't help but feel like they're, I mean, if they're just super nice to you for doing something wrong, you know. I know my parents wasn't super nice to me when I was growing up when I'd done wrong. If I had been, I probably wouldn't have cared, and I'd have kept doing it. So, that's my little spiel on it. If you just go through the scales and act like somebody, I feel like that they're going to treat you decent. You know, some of them are prejudiced out there, but I mean, that's just the world we live in, you know. I try to look at everything optimistically, and I try to look at people as optimistically as I can. I try to assume the best in people. I find that I live a happier life that way, you know, looking at life in an open-minded way. It's helped me in business, you know, when things go wrong and ain't going as planned. You can just get mad and fly off on the handle, or just keep on being optimistic. That's the important thing, and that's one thing I'm always going to push in my channel. People are going to get sick of it, and that's okay. Because if you can keep a positive attitude, life is easier. It always will. Foul up, make a mistake, try to look at it as just being that. It's a mistake. You learn from it. And not only will you probably not make that mistake again, you've gained wisdom that you can share with young people. And Whether the young people will take your experience to heart or not, that's up to them. But if they do, you've saved them from having to learn the hard way. And that is a positive thing. It's just like, you know, speed limit 60. I'm going to be doing 60, you know. I mean, I don't have to be looking in my mirror waiting to see blue lights, stressing and worrying myself. I might go 5 over like everybody else at times, but getting in a hurry just stresses you out. And then you're more tired at the end of the day, and really, have you gotten anywhere much faster? I think not. Around this area, you can speed until you get right up behind somebody and you can't get around. Slow down and enjoy life. I used to drive a truck over the road, and I put in, you know, average 600, 650 miles per 11 hours driving time. And I don't know how many times I would get passed by somebody else. And it wasn't just other trucks, it was cars. And they'd blow past me, and I wouldn't see them all day until there'd be a wreck on the interstate. And I'd see those same people. Of course, I didn't take brakes. They probably took brakes too, but if you're running 75, 80 miles an hour all day long, that's going to wear you out. In a big rig, it's just a lot more work, a lot more stress. Some people can. Some people can run all day wide open and be just fine, but I know for me, I just ease along. That way, you know, when something comes up and, you know, you get stuck in that highway traffic, you don't feel like, man, I've busted my tail all day. I pushed and pushed and pushed, and now it's all for nothing. If you just eased along, it ain't that bad. You don't feel like you pushed that hard for nothing. It ain't gonna make that big a difference. Just a couple of thoughts, you know, maybe help some people think out there and realize there's efficiency in slowing down a little bit. I really believe that. So I'm going to get this horse on back to the stable, walk it down for the day, and I'm not sure what we got to do tomorrow. I haven't even looked at the schedule. I'll probably look at it when I get home. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. It's been a fun little project, nothing exciting. But if you did enjoy it, I'd sure appreciate a comment. And if you didn't, comment anyway. Tell me how I could have made this video better for you. And if you're new to my YouTube family, I'd sure be greatly humbled if you'd subscribe. Y'all have a great day.